Hello guys, welcome back to another election prediction video. This time we're going to do the 2022 governor election prediction, or gubernatorial elections. I'd kind of prefer to call them governor elections though, it's just simpler. So we're going to get right into this prediction with a couple of the safe states. California, not going to be competitive. Illinois, I still think the Democrats probably going to win by over 10% here. It really hasn't seen any dip in his approval rating, but Republican momentum could shift it to likely, but I don't see that's really that possible. Maryland, it's probably going to be a layup for Democrats, the same as Massachusetts as well. It's probably going to be a layup there. And in New York, it's probably going to be another 10% victory, even though the Republicans campaign, part of like Lee Zeldin's operation, shows him leading the Democrat by 2 points here, Kathy Hochul. The poll doesn't make any sense. It literally is just an internal poll. It should be completely disregarded. It excludes a lot. It doesn't even have a real breakdown in the poll either. That's like it's just a junk poll, honestly. That's all I got to say about that. So we're going to do the safe Republican states. Idaho, Wyoming, Nebraska, South Dakota. Used to be competitive in 2018, not going to be this time. Arkansas, Tennessee. Oklahoma has an interesting race where a former Republican changed to the Democratic Party, and she's running the primary there. So honestly, keep an eye on Oklahoma. That's what I'm going to put as likely for now. It could be kind of competitive race. We have to see. All right, Alabama, South Carolina, also not going to be competitive. Forgot to put a Hawaii as this. It's not going to be that competitive either yet. So we're going to get into the, oh yeah, I forgot. Vermont, New Hampshire are both really popular liberal Republican governors here. They're probably going to easily win by over 10 points like they did in the 2020 elections. They just did amazing there. So we're going to go through these states. So Rhode Island and Connecticut, I both see them as likely Democratic. Connecticut it always has in its history close governor elections. You look through it and it's never over a 10% blowout. And the Democratic governor has decent approval ratings, so it's not going to go to lean like it usually is. I think it'll probably go to around likely, so under 10% victory. Rhode Island, also the same. Gina Raimondo has become part of Biden's cabinet, so it's kind of an openish seat with someone who's just appointed to the office there. So it'll probably be decently competitive, but still not a flip for the Republicans. State of Iowa and Ohio. I mean, Kim Reynolds in the most recent poll is leading by 8 points here. That's where I kind of expect her margin to come from. Ohio, you have a somewhat competitive Republican primary there. But if the current Republican incumbent wins there, then the state's not going to be that competitive. It could even go to safe. But if an outsider unseats the current Republican governor there, then we do see a much more competitive race. So I'm going to put it as likely for now. All right, the states of Texas and Florida. I mean, you have Beto O'Rourke running here, but he really shot himself in the foot with his gun comments in the 2020 Democratic primary, which will probably come back to haunt him with a lot of centrist and moderate voters who really kind of like their guns here in the state of Texas. And honestly, they might see Beto as a bit fake if he decides to go back on what he said about guns in the 2020 Democratic primary. That might hurt him a lot here in the state of Texas. Plus, it's going to be a leaning Republican national environment in 2022, as we're seeing currently. The state of Florida, we currently have Ron DeSantis running for re-election here. And if it's Charlie Crista's nominee, it could go to lean. He might actually have a chance because Charlie Crist used to be a Republican, so voters view him as moderate. But I'm going to say it's probably going to be a 6-point Ron DeSantis victory in the state of Florida. Even still, I think he's just going to cruise to re-election here because he has decent approval ratings. They're positive, so definitely in a Republican environment. He's going to win by a likely margin. So the state of Colorado, I mean, it's not going to be safe by any metric, but it's as close as safe as possible. Probably an 8 to 9 point victory in the state of Colorado for the incumbent Democratic governor. Really hasn't done anything bad there. Okay, I'm trying to think which state to do next. Oh yeah, Kansas. So I've seen polls here. The Democratic internal polling shows her up by 3. Republican internal polling shows the Republican opponent up by 4. So I'm going to actually put this as a lean state instead of likely for now. This state might be pretty competitive in 2022, but overall, I kind of probably expect the Republican to win by 4 points just because of the momentum shifting against the Democrats right now. So the next state would be Alaska. The independent is actually Bill Waker. He's actually doing pretty decent in the polling here, since it's ranked choice voting. It shows him leading by 1, but I highly doubt that he'll win. I think the Republican probably still win by 3 to 4 points, just looking at Alaska and the national environment. I doubt he'll win. So Oregon, I think it's going to be a likely state. Democratic governor's kind of struggling in approval ratings here, so it'll have the recipe for a competitive race. State of New Mexico, a lot of Republicans saying they're going to flip this state. I doubt it. I think it'll stay Democratic by 2 to 3 points still. I don't think the Republicans will have that much energy to flip this crucial battleground state. So, the state of Arizona, I see it kind of tilting towards the Republicans. I mean, currently, if you look at the polls, you would say, oh, it's a toss-up. But with the current national environment favoring them by 2 to 3 points on the generic ballot, you have to give it as a tilt advantage to the Republicans in this state. However, the state of Nevada, I think, tilts towards Democrats, so that's a silver lining here. At least they get Nevada. Sisolak has a pretty like a 5% to 4% positive approval rating, so that'll definitely factor into him winning. But you have to give some credit to Republicans just running decent candidates and having a little bit of an advantage here. So it'll definitely help them out because of that advantage in the national environment. But I still think it'll be a Democratic hold. So the state of Maine, I just think that the Republicans really don't have any decent nominees here, and I think they'll probably just end up losing again like they did in 2018. But her approval kind of went down a little bit. But she's still positive overall. The states of Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, these are mostly going to be their gains are in the Rust Belt. Wisconsin, Tony Evers really has no shot at winning a re-election currently. His approval ratings are pretty bad. They're slightly negative, so that's definitely going to hurt him, and it's probably going to be a Republican flip there. State of Pennsylvania, it's very hard for a political party in Pennsylvania to win 12 years straight of control. It usually flips to the other party after 8 years anyway, and that's probably what's going to happen here in the state of Pennsylvania. State of Minnesota, currently the Democrat leads by around 5 to 6 points in the polling. His lead kind of went down. It used to be a likely state, but it's probably going to be lean as of right now, I would say. State of Georgia, currently Brian Kemp is actually leading the primary polling, and he's the Republicans' best bet at keeping the seat, because if they nominate David Perdue, it's probably going to be an extremely competitive race. However, if they stick with Brian Kemp as of right now, he's leading the polls against Stacey Abrams nearly every poll by 4 to 3%. And I'm assuming he's the nominee, so I think Brian Kemp will probably win this state of Georgia by a lean margin because he just appeals well to these moderate independents, as the polling shows that a Trump candidate really struggles in the state of Georgia. So him being opposed by Trump actually might help him with moderate voters who really didn't like Trump at all here. That actually might help him, but not in the primary. That's definitely going to hurt him. But I think Republicans will probably unite around him as the nominee and will still turn out for him in the general election. Now we go down to the state of Michigan, and I think that'll probably be a Democratic lean state as of right now. And it's weird. Look, see the totals at the top? It's just, that's so bizarre. Anyway, it should be 30 to 20. 30 Republican states to 20 Democratic seats. But let me get into the logic for Gretchen Whitmer. Currently, she has a pretty decent approval rating. Plus, her Republican opponent, I really don't think is that serious of a candidate that will actually have a decent chance. And I still think it's going to be a 2% Democratic victory for Gretchen Whitmer overall. So that's my governor election prediction as of March 2022. Let me know what you think of this in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.